Lotargar friends, hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Orc Mode workout. Today is Dynamic Effort Bench Press Day. Yes, on a Thursday. I had a half-week deload, which is why there was no max effort stuff put up, and I decided to swap my rotation. I can cover more of that on the max effort days. I decided I need to do on Mondays when I'm fresh, my max effort bench, and then do my squat deadlift day after. So I've got to swap the 2 days around. And I'm still kind of getting used to this flat-footed, but as you guys notice, I get a little more arch. I did have some problems with hitting my uprights because this is a different bar path and setup than I'm used to. So I've had to slide my bench further down, and I'm actually using spacers behind it, which, again, are just like my pinch blocks. I space a number of them there so that it's actually up against something for consistent measurement, and I'm having to just kind of adjust that so that it's set at the exact same space every time, so that when I sit down on my bench, I learn to get in and not hit those uprights, because I did hit them on one of these, and it really messed up my speed. So I'm doing 9 sets of 5 right now, and I know that's come up with people, but I think I'm going to go back over to 10 by 3 here soon, because this is really just kind of getting used to the volume again of doing this new style. I wanted to keep it up for a couple of weeks, but then I go to bands next week, and I think going back to the 10 by 3 is going to work a little better. I'll get more first reps. And I don't do that on like the squatting. And some people are wondering why 8 by 3 there. Well, because I do 20 singles on the deadlift after. There's still the same basic muscles involved. Whereas in the bench, it's only one exercise on this dynamic day. So I need to go ahead and get more total volume in on it. Even though we would think of the lower body needing a little more volume in general. But I will say this setup is different, and anyone who ever really sets up with an arch like this, who tries to tell you nonsense like this doesn't work the chest, has clearly never done it. All right, I feel like that's almost a topic that needs to be discussed when people come on this anti-bench brigade of pretending that the bench press doesn't use the pecs as a primary mover. I'm just going to flat out say, if your pecs don't get massive from benching, you don't know how to bench. And I know I tell people even the pause benching does that, but even I'm doing touch and go speed bench. Speed bench with bands and chains when you arch like that makes your pecs cramp. Like usually by your second set, your actual pecs are almost cramping. Like they feel like someone beat them with a hammer. So the idea that it's not working the pecs is just absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Again, probably needs to be covered in its own videos because it's the most absurd argument anyone could possibly make. Like they clearly don't know how to bench press. All right, if it's just a front delt exercise for you, you don't know how to bench. Okay. But I do notice doing this change in style to where I'm flat-footed, feet out wide, arching. I do feel the whole outer edge of my pec. And actually, as I get deeper into the sets on the speed bench, more and more of my pec seems to fatigue. Right, it starts with just the lower pec, and by the time I'm around set 6 or 7, my whole upper chest, then my front delts, everything is throbbing. So I'm going to be curious how this translates over to my max work, but we're going to keep moving forward with it, and we're going to rotate through different bars, bands, chains, things like that. So I'm going to have a number of different max effort versions. So hopefully that starts going up as a result of this. But I feel like I need the practice with this setup. I've got to get more practice on it with the speed days, which is what this allows us. And that's what people forget. When we're doing the dynamic work, a lot of times people will say, well, you're not getting the practicing the right setups on these lifts and stuff when you're rotating all these variations on the max days. Well, that's what your speed work is for. Right? If you're coming in and doing 8 to 10 sets on your speed work, you are setting up. You're practicing setting in. Right? You do 9 or 10 sets of speed bench where you arch and set up correctly. Isn't that your practice? Isn't that your practice for your technique and bar path? So it shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter if on your max days you spend an entire month using different barbells. And people forget that. There's a lot of first reps and a lot of setups being practiced on your dynamic days. It all flows together. And with a system like this, that's what you have to remember. The secret to a system like this is not any one element. It's the fact of how you combine and program them all together. It's how they program all together. It's the sum total of the programming. And so people who say this sort of training doesn't work are because they only did half of it. And that is like 90% of people who say this doesn't work, including when I messed with it before and came back and said, oh, I don't think it works. Right? Because you only do half of it. Well, a half-ass effort gives you half-ass results. Now, I will say I wish the speed work was a little faster, but we'll address that more with the bands. I feel like when I go over to the band stuff, that's going to get faster with this new setup, and that'll help with my speed. Then I did pull-ups. I decided to use my chains today. The first set, I didn't get the chains really set. I just left them kind of in the same sort of length I've been doing for some of my speed work, which was too short a lengths. Like, it's just almost no accommodation. And I saw that from the first video and did 8 of these. And then after that, what did we do? I added another chain. I ran them out longer and did 4 more sets. Now, this would have been 5 by 8 other than I reached muscle failure on the 5th set. I only got 6. So we got 4 sets of 8 plus a set of 6. Now, I'm going to say, considering I'm dead hang, I weigh 218 pounds. I have on boots, and then I'm running 36 pounds of chains. I think it's decent. But this is a lot of volume too, right? I think it ended up being 38 reps, 38 total reps with weight, full range of motion. I don't think that's bad, especially my body weight. So I'm going to do a lot more pull-ups. A lot of times I do rows on the dynamic day. I've realized I just want to do more pull-ups. I want to do pull-ups for a while. I'm tired of rows. And I can do extra face pulls to get the benefits of my rows. I feel like the pull-up brings a lot to the table. And on some days I might even eventually start incorporating them on a squat and deadlift day. The pull-up is a beast. And if you can find a version that doesn't hurt your shoulders or your bicep tendons, might as well get beastly at it, especially when you do them weighted, because it puts the spine into traction. There could be recovery benefits to this. This has come up with other people saying after they deadlift, they love weighted pull-ups just because it pulls the spine into traction. And there could be something to that. And here's what we're getting out of that. We're getting a lot of benefit. For those of us who do a lot of axial loading, look at the amount of squatting and deadlifting I do, especially with the accommodation and everything. All right? Load on my spine is an issue. Just the training while putting the spine in traction here may have some recovery benefits in the overall training. And I mean, if you want a thicker upper body, getting strong on weighted pull-ups and doing a lot of volume, this is just going to add overall thickness. And that's what people have to remember. When it comes to the bench press, what do we know increases your bench press more than anything else? Upper body thickness. Just all the way around the board. Yes, we could argue that upper back probably matters the most as far as your back goes, but I'm still working a lot of upper back. Between a lot of these and the face pulls and the other stuff, I'm getting upper back work in. But again, I think it'll be good to run a phase with a lot of pull-ups. I did a lot of rows for a phase. Now a phase with a lot of pull-ups. Just get as strong as possible with these. I might even adjust my grip. Got 3 different grips there to work with. I've got chains to change the resistance curve. And I feel like that's something I can discuss later too, as far as the benefits of chains on that. There's a method to my madness there. But I got some really good workload in. Now I ran into the same thing here. I think I was hitting like my safeties a little bit on these JM presses. Can be problematic. Trying to get set in balance is a little hard with chains on these. So sometimes I'm catawampus a little bit. So the safeties themselves, which I'm really not comfortable doing a JM press over my face without safeties. Right? I'm not comfortable with that. So I'll just have to make it work. But I'm running a lot of chain on this. And this has come up too. What is one of the big complaints some people talk about with the JM press can be just like a skull crusher, tendonitis around the elbow. But where are you getting that? It's from the bottom. So if you're just at a moderate weight at the bottom and then you're having to drive through against chains, we're really getting all that lockout and tricep development that we want. And yes, I'm running a lot more lockout than I was running before. At best, I got some sets of 10 with a full plate per side before without the chains, right? Full plate. Well, I've got like 80 pounds of chains on here. You guys do the math on those chains. I think it's 78 pounds. I believe it's exactly 78 pounds of chain on there. So that's a lot of chain, right? We're pushing over 170 pounds at the lockout for the JMs. That'll still give me that lockout training, even if it's a little lighter at the bottom. It's barely over 100 pounds at the bottom. That's okay. A lot of volume, 5 sets of 10. And if I start to stall on these, I can switch to bands. Then I can also drop to the floor. I think the JM press really needs to be my tricep movement for a while, because it incorporates additional chest, which I need, while being a tricep dominant press that will improve my bench. See, I hit one of the safeties. I've got different variations I can do with the accommodation, floor pressing versions of it, and everything else. Keep rotating through them. Just keep getting stronger at it. My bench will go up. It'll give me the tricep development I need. Then I decided to finish off with some side laterals with chains. The first set I tried to grab the same chain, so that's basically like 39 pounds of chain in each hand. That was just too much. I got to like 9 reps with bad form. So I ripped a chain off, a 17-pound chain off each side, and banged out 2 more sets to failure. Now I'm in the middle of a monsoon today, and I lost power for about 5 minutes, and right near the end the power flickered on the second set, right as I was finishing the set. So we finished the set, but on the last rep you guys will see the lights flicker. There's actually the power going out. So I'm actually hoping it lets me render and upload this video without the power going out again, hopefully. But again, just 3 sets of these to failure to make sure my shoulders are finished off. And I'll probably do some face pulls and abs and stuff later today. So pretty much everything I wanted for today. Happy with the workout. Tomorrow is dynamic effort squat and deadlift day, and then we get into our new maxes next week. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.